will now call the September 8th, 2025 Yellow Medicine East School Board meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we'll call our board members. We'll start with Addie Richter, Sonia Peterson,
Matt Temple.
Laurel Christensen.
Amanda Lindsay.
Ron Winter.
and now approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? Or do I have an approval?
Motion to approve the agenda by Temple.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Amanda is reading the Wyoming mission statement this evening.
Our mission is to provide a caring environment of high expectations that prepares every student for a successful future and instills the value of learning.
Thank you. Any public address to the Board of Education? Seeing none? All right. The consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda? I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
And I will abstain.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor
Aye.
and all those opposed? Consent agenda is passed. And then reports. We'll start with Mrs. Hanson, Burt Rainey Elementary report. You're quick.
Should be red. Is it green? There it goes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I got halfway here and left all my stuff back on my desk. So, a little out of breath. Okay, first of all, a couple things. Open house, I wanted to just report, so Burt Rainey had a great turnout for open house. And we do packets by families, which also helps us determine like who wasn't at open house, because then we make sure we mail them out. And we had approximately only 20 kindergarten through 5th grade families who did not attend. That does not include preschool because we track them a little bit different. But as far as K-5, we only had 5 that were not there. The first day of school and also the first week of school. One of the things that I typically do after the first day is I always send out a quick questionnaires to the staff on, how'd the day go, what was the best part of the day. And so I'm just gonna read just a couple. Lots of them answered that evening, Tuesday evening. So the question was, what was the best part of your day? Getting to know all my new students, seeing the students mature from last year to this year, meeting all the kids, so fun to see all of the smiling faces. One staff member noted that a student sang her a song on the way into school. The day truly went well, looking forward to a great school year, and the joy in the hearts of staff and students. Seeing all the lovely smiley faces back in the building. So lots of feedback from them. And then I try and send out every year a first week to the parents, just like what went well, do you have any questions? I try and send it out on Friday, however, I did not get this out until the weekend. So I checked late this afternoon and I think there was just over 50 families had responded. But I always ask, first of all, how many stars would you give your child's first week of school? And then that same question is repeated if they have more than one child in the elementary. Highlights of the child's first week, So I'm gonna just read a couple of the highlights first from parents. Meeting new friends and fun and engaging learning activities. Seeing his friends, meeting his teacher and liking her, learning math. Our son has told us multiple times that he can't wait to go back the next day to learn about math. He was also very excited to say that he was able to see last year's teacher. Another comment was drank chocolate milk for the first time. Band came up. Meeting new friends, the playground, quote, they absolutely loved it. My son got to be the lucky duck in preschool. He is more than ready for routine and friendships. There were many daily highlights throughout the week. Reuniting with old friends, new friends, and a new teacher, the excitement of all things new. And that kind of repeated then for each child that they had. But then I also always ask, you know, any questions or comments, and is there a staff member that you'd like to give a special thank you to? And then if staff is mentioned, I make sure they get that. But just some general ones I want to share. Amazing staff. Had some issues with the bus, but the staff made sure to get our child to the right place. Thank you for providing a safe and fun learning environment for my children. I don't think I can show enough appreciation for all of the staff at YME. All staff were very welcoming and sweet. I feel so fortunate that my son has built a comfort level from week 1 that we were actually feeling upset to go home for the weekend. To say that he was excited to come back for week 2 is an understatement. A special thanks to all of the preschool staff for their hard work and love. And then lots of individual staff thank yous, so I'll make sure they get those. But lots of just, it's definitely a feel good. I know I called one of the teachers about half hour ago and read a few that were about her. So special thank you to the parents that submit that. It really is fun to see, and it's always fun to see things that like we forget about, like drink chocolate milk for the first time. So, just really switching gears, READ Act update. So, as you may recall, one part of the statute is that Minnesota districts need to train all of their instructional support staff in our district. We refer to them as paraprofessionals. And 8 hours is required. Schools have a couple different options. We are very lucky that we get to have our training locally with Sherry Schneider. Otherwise, paras, there's different things. They can go to different locations. There's some virtual things, but it's really nice. So we did the very first one. Sherry presented to our paras on August 25th, which was part of back to school. And we had decided to do, so it's 8 hours, so we're doing 4 segments of 2 hours. And 2 hours she had felt like was enough. Otherwise it's information overload. And so one of the things that I had checked in with her for our very first session, we had 40 paraprofessionals total district-wide, and 37 of the 40 were able to attend session 1. So the 3 that were not able to attend, we are currently working on a makeup date for them. And we are also hoping to finalize the remaining 6 hours throughout the rest of the school year. So we will be in compliance with that requirement by the end of the year. Also, we always talk a little bit about phase 1 and phase 2 staff.
Awesome.
Yes. And so our phase 1 staff for the literacy training, right now, they are scheduled to be on paper done by July 1st of 2026. And right now, district-wide, because keep in mind, it's all preschool through 3rd grade, plus preschool through 12th grade special ed. We have 30 that are either done or in progress, and you might remember last spring we were like at 92%. Were done at that time. One of the things that has come up from a connection with MDE is we are anticipating there will be some exceptions. They're non-public right now, but some of the things that principals have expressed concern about are if you have a tier 1 teacher who's already in a program and is getting a degree, it would be very difficult
difficult not only to have them with a current position, a brand new position, getting a degree somewhere else, and getting the literacy training. So I've been told that they are looking at giving like an extension on that for some of those teachers as well as some of our brand new teachers. We were really lucky last year. All of our new teachers already got into that first phase. And so we are definitely making headway, but we do expect to get some more information on those extensions. There's also waivers now that schools might be able to apply for in special circumstances, but again, that information is coming. Any questions on anything with the READ Act? Our Sting Pride update, again, that's our PBIS group. So I just wanted to mention, and I know I've talked a lot about our Sting Pride group over the years, but we've tweaked, so we have a Sting Pride committee that is like, we call it the oversight committee at Fort Rainy, but then underneath that we have 4 subcommittees that all of our certified staff are involved with. So in elementary fashion, they have elementary titles. So like Smile Squad, which is our recognitions committee, and they plan our quarterly rewards, plan the school-wide rewards. They do some staff recognition, they take care of the weekly drawing. They also help get our traveling Sting store to classrooms, and they help arrange our monthly class competition. We have our Sting Pride classroom support, and those are staff members that really just help, whether it's a new teacher or veteran teachers, reminders on how we teach expectations. They provide lessons, videos, handouts. Our next one is Sting Signs and Environment. About a year and a half ago, we redid a lot of our Sting Pride signs that you see in the hallway. So if you're walking down the elementary hallway right now, like most of our halls are this color. Where the signs are, they're a little bit different shade. That's where our posters were, and so we're in the process of redeveloping those, and some are smaller, not as large. And then we also have our individualized student recognition committee, and they really just help develop ways to recognize individual students and come up with ways to share things out with our families and community. Homecoming 2025, so we actually just met after school today to finalize things, so I do not have anything officially that I can share, but it will be out by the morning. A couple years ago, you might recall, the elementary jumped on the let's do a little bit more than just a Sting Pride Day, and so we have some fun days scheduled for our elementary students for next week too. They don't match up with the middle school, high school, which is totally fine, but we just try and spread the spirit, as they say. One of their days, I believe, on your Friday is Sting, it's not Pride, Sting, yes, whatever that is. We're gonna have the same day as middle school, high school. Otherwise, ours will vary a little bit. My title update, I believe, is gonna come later. Is that correct, Mr. Schneider? Later, okay, or Sonia, perfect. So that is all I have. I did include a link to our back to school activities. Questions for me?
Do we have questions for Mrs. Hanson?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Wyoming Middle School, High School Board Report, Mrs. Higgs?
Okay, I have short report plus an activity for you, so we'll have some interaction with each other. So enrollment update for the first time, I think, I don't know, it's been quite a while, but the high school is up 11 students. Lost 5 and gained 16, coming from all across the country, so that's been really fun to get to know the new families and students. We have a PBIS update as well. We are just in the phase of our training, it's a 2-year training, we're in cohort 21. The last time the group was trained was 2012, so we clearly need a refresher. The one thing we did right away, and you really can't see it, I don't think, is these tiny little positive behavior cards. Those are for the students. It tracks comes off of our expectation sheet. They could just make a little checklist of what, or a checkbox of what the student did, and then maybe write a comment in there. We're gonna use these to not give incentives or like tokeny things like that, but we're gonna give kids extra time in recess, like if they're up in the study hall, which was middle school kids would absolutely go nuts for. So we're gonna, starting that tomorrow. And along with that is number 3, the Buzzworthy staff members monthly recognition. We wrote just a small drive-in grant, received some gift cards to give out, a couple people a month. So that's also as, well, you're very welcome to fill out any of those if you'd ever want to. We can get you a copy of that as board members as well. Or superintendent. So we're kind of excited about that. Really want to continue uplifting the positive culture of our school district. So something new or different, I guess, is credit recovery at Genuity. So credit recovery at YME has been kind of a beast. Was running through the ALC with packets. We didn't think that was a very, well, I shouldn't probably say that. We thought that it could be improved. So we went with Acellus, and we've been paying for Acellus as a school district this last year. And then I think the superintendent's had some conversations about that. The ALC is taking over credit recovery in being the host, not the actual site work. So a student fails a class, we enroll them in what's called Edgenuity, which means we have to actually fill out paperwork for them to become an ALC student for that period of time that they would physically stay on site with us. They have 6 weeks to complete the course. If they don't complete the course in 6 weeks, they're out, and then another student gets to be put in. The nice thing with that is they were able to buy a large amount of licenses, and it's not like YME can only have 5 or 10, we can have as many as our kids keep going through that. So I'm really excited about that. It'd be a blessing if someday we didn't have to have credit recovery, so that would be something, one of our goals as well. So we just got into that. Leah Schuler has been amazing at getting all those kids in there. The difference between Acellus and Edgenuity is they have the entire content. The students can test out of pieces, so they can take a pre-test, and if they demonstrate, I think it was 80% proficiency on the piece of curriculum, they wouldn't have to take all that again, which makes sense. And then at the end of the units, we wanted more control, so the students have to come to the office and then open it up, and then they have to take their test, like right outside of our office, my office. So they don't have extra help from anyone that might want to help them in biology, for example. So, okay. Questions on any of that so far? Okay, so September 15th through 19th is homecoming. Monday night is, or Monday afternoon at 2 is coronation. FFA, you probably remember more, Devin. FFA is feeding our kids on Wednesday. Thursday we're doing some type of pet fest, and then something again on Friday. We just got all these details, so I don't have them all. Kate, you and Kate can talk about it. Kate can talk about it. He's the advisor, so. The PTO has done an amazing job, and the Vote Yes Committee has also done an amazing job of creating a whole bunch of unique opportunities for homecoming this year. I think it's going to be a really great event. Hopefully the weather is perfect for that night. So, one thing I wanted to do with you as a school board is at our PBIS training, we talked about changing adult behavior in order to change student behavior, and focusing the impact on the onus on us as adults in the building. And so I know, like Devin just said to me the last time I was in here was when you interviewed me, right, or a year ago. And when we were interviewing him or anyone else, I always think, would I want my child to take a class from you? What I want, how would Ron work with this teacher versus Matt versus Abby, and just really keeping the students in mind. So one of the things we did at PBIS is we got into small groups and we talked about, I want adults to be. So what do you want the adults in our building to be so that our students can what? So I did a random drawing of your names, and you have your names assignments on each poster. So Sonia and Ron are here, and Laurel and Matt, and I think Abby, Rich, Amanda, did I miss anyone? So what you need to do, you can list as many things as you want the adults to be in this building. There's a pen back there somewhere. Hopefully don't write on the wall. And then once you think of that, like, so students can be. So if I was teaching you right now and you were in my classroom, how much time would you like for this activity? can you spare? This is important work.
Take that, 5 minutes.
Okay, so we'll give you 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Ready? Take a look. Don't worry, there's no.
I'm right here.
They are permanent. I don't
Right
know
here.
if
Okay.
You wanna write?
What?
So
they're- Put it on the table.
We want
Leaders.
Why,
Because they're-
What's that?
I said I should not be writing, my handwriting is horrible.
Mine's bad too.
Positive?
No.
From me? Hopefully with positive light.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You did not spell that.
Listeners?
Oh, they're gonna call you out.
I wasn't prepared.
Well, I wasn't prepared to write.
So are we supposed to do?
Yes. I wanted us to be,
How about here?
so the students can be leaders, positive, friendly, and listeners. Same. Can I put, so the students do the same?
Yeah,
Do you think, I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I don't think we're
he said 5, he said 5 minutes, I'm perfect. You know how fast I talk, so, you know, we got this.
Well, that's, I mean, they can be
Your handwriting is very minor.
My handwriting is horrible, I'm left-handed.
I think I have tape.
You got it?
Great.
I think we did awesome. I think we are rocking it.
You guys do that. I've heard,
Nope, you're on your own now.
I could have wrote
I would
regularly.
also say caring, so that students can.
All right, so that students are
I know.
successful.
Well, I wrote too small.
And I would also
They wanted to be
maybe say.
lifelong learners.
Oh.
Three on their team, that was kind of cheating. No.
Role models, role models.
So the package is, what are they shooting, goose? Goose. Some shot in the garage. The dog got it this morning, took it in the yard and was like, well, this is great, I'm gonna start eating this. What are they doing? They're having a good time, Jack. He was flying in Friday night, he's like, it is goosey. And it was just,
Or what they have.
4 days, they just love us. So now they can be doing worse things, which they are doing that, like, whatever. Whatever, they're having fun. And Dylan said,
So students can.
Time up.
Oh, how many minutes do we have left? You have 2 minutes exactly. Do you need more time?
No.
If you don't need more time, we can be done.
I think
We
we're.
did really, wow,
Okay.
I read fast, I talked fast.
I will let you know.
See, I didn't have to write so fast, I can spell correctly.
Yeah,
Well,
right. That felt a little rough, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Right.
I was writing and talking, so I wasn't thinking
Yeah,
about how I
same.
spelled words.
I don't know if I.
Okay, you guys good? Good to go?
Good positive too, I don't know. if
So
that's-
between Laurel and Matt, would you share out what you want adults to be?
Adults to be compassionate, positive, caring, good listeners, engaging, and excited.
Laura, would you mind sharing what students?
Yeah, so that students can be understood, be positive, feel supported, be heard, and also be engaged and be excited.
Awesome.
Yes, Ron and I said, I want adults to be leaders, positive, friendly, what is that bottom one? Listeners, sorry, can't even read my own handwriting. So that students can do the same.
Awesome. Last one in the back.
A little hard to read for me.
Patient, welcoming, trustworthy, passionate, understanding, calm, positive, caring, lead by example, lifelong learners.
So students can be successful, lifelong learners, positive and passionate.
All right, so we did this with our staff. These are our staff charts. We also did this as a PBIS team in August in Mankato. So if you want to just take a minute and just kind of scan across those as well. As you're looking, what things are you, what common themes are you seeing? Or, I mean, any comment you want to say?
Positive, there's a lot of positivity from adults.
And compassionate. One thing that stands out to me under the students is proud. You know, that's just something that I think we still need to work on. We're getting there, but I think we need to work on it.
Definitely. Any other ahas or things that surprised you or you think are maybe missing?
I mean, I think a good common theme is that, confident, connected, engaged, they're all along that same line, so they can feel like they're supported.
It goes along with what Lisa was saying from the parents from Burt Raney. I think we all really want the same thing. For us as adults and for students to have success. It was interesting today, I'm meeting with each grade level, so today was the seniors. And I made them stand in a circle in the auditorium, which they were like rolling their eyes and things like that. I mean, but I've had you in my life for 7 years, we can hang out. And so they got into small groups that were already pre-assigned and kind of like yours. And I read them right away, and 3 of the groups actually wrote, I don't want my teachers to change anything. I was like, oh, that like hit me really hard because I thought, oh, here's the opportunity for them to just go after it. And they just said, I just want it to be exactly what they are. And I was like, perfect. So it'll be interesting next board meeting. I'll bring all of the information back from 6th grade all the way up to seniors and you. And then I think we'll do this activity when we have opportunities to get more information from families or like at our curriculum advisory council or somehow just want to get everyone to feel this same synergy, I guess I would say. So, yeah, I'll take these down tomorrow if that's okay.
You bet.
Any other things you guys want from me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now Rich Schneider with the district report.
Okay, so I think I put out my weekly update that we were identified for targeted support for a specific group, so we will attend a kickoff, I believe is what they're calling it, on September 22nd with a group of us and see what the next steps are. We're not expecting anybody to come on site or anything like that, just I think they'll just be providing us with a lot of supports and resources. Facilities update, so I wanted to make sure, first of all, you're going to hear a lot going on with Granite Falls City Council because we have some things we need to straighten out. So I did give you a copy of the maps. So yes, we have a right-of-way running right down the middle of our football field and our buildings, and in some cases that means a sanitary sewer is running through there. So we're going to work with the city council and try and straighten some of this out. First of all, we will have to, they call it vacating those right-of-ways. So we'll go through that process. Then if you look, I did give you another map that shows you some dark red on it. That is some city-owned property that we will do a quick claim deed on and get that transferred. And then the rest, we'll probably try, and it's our intent to try and replat this so there's actually just one property here. So we don't have all these different parts and parcels. So, questions about that? I will represent the school district at a public hearing to address this. I really don't see a big problem with that. The only thing that will probably come up in this meeting is, like anywhere, people will want an update on where we're at with the building. And so that's why I'll go more than anything. So All right. We have some staff meetings, so we're working on it with the principals and Mr. Knapper on getting meetings set up with groups of staff to talk about the building and our architect. They'll get an opportunity. It's gonna be tight to get everybody that opportunity. We will do the best we can to make that happen. Decision-making, again, in my weekly update, I kind of talked about that, maybe the possibility of some thresholds. We're not gonna panic and make a decision tonight. On Wednesday night, Buildings and Grounds, we'll talk about it a little bit. They'll come back with kind of a recommendation, but one of the things I want you to understand, we're not trying to leave anybody out of any of these decisions, but unfortunately, there's gonna have to be a threshold where you allow some people to make decisions so we don't hold up the progress of the building, all right? The intent is not to leave anybody out, all right? You'll stay in the loop on what's happening, we'll communicate with you, but if we have, I don't know, trying to come up with a scenario, say there's some contaminated soil out here, and it's stopping us from digging footings, we're gonna probably have to authorize something to remediate that immediately so it doesn't stop the footings from being built. And then at the next board meeting, I envision that coming as an official action, even though the work is already probably started, right? Pressing Yearly will be meeting, or will be available virtually on Wednesday when we talk about it, so those three committee members can ask some questions about that, okay? We haven't decided anything. No matter what we decide, it will come back as a board decision on those thresholds, all right? So we don't have to rush into those thresholds, but we do need to have something like that in place, okay? Birds Club has kicked off well in my report there. I talked about the highest total number of students in the afternoon session is 10. She told me today it'll be 12 now. So we're getting a little bit more participation in that. We were intentional. We didn't want to start too big and then fail because it was too big too fast. So we're going to revisit it later this fall. It may be around Christmas time when we start to look at expanding it. But we want to make sure we have things in place, furniture, snacks, a program, staffing, before we look to expand. There will also be at some point the possibility we'll be able to see what our trend is in terms of revenue and expenditures. Do we consider readjusting those numbers? I know, I heard it too, that we are more expensive than other area programs. Right? Our program is significantly different than those other programs in that we have nothing else to earn income on to run our program. Our program is running on its own. Whereas like Montevideo, Dawson Boyd, they have daycares or other programs that are helping share that cost. We do not currently have that option. So we are a little bit more expensive, I understand that. The other thing is too, we're not trying to outcompete our local daycares or puddle jumpers or any of those programs. We're not trying to compete. We're trying to fill a need. So, all right? QComp plan, I don't know, I see Amy's here. Her and a crew of teachers, two others, right? Beth Chan and Jacob Suter, helped redo our QComp plan. Basically, all they did, or I wouldn't say all, because that's minimizing the work they did. They did a lot of work. They met several times over the summer and redid it. But there's some noticeable changes. One of the things is we were required in the new statute to identify a performance standard. We're using the Charlotte Danielson framework for effective teaching practices. Probably not familiar to you folks, but it's very common in education. Our principals have used that, and I wouldn't say QComp wasn't using it, but now it's integrated as part of it. They created larger PLCs with smaller subgroups for a personalized PLC approach for PLCs. So there's going to be, what, 6 PLCs? That allowed us to, because where we were struggling is leadership position, because it's a big time commitment, right, Amy? A big time commitment. So we need to somehow entice those people by adequately compensating them for the additional time it's going to take. So by doing some of that shifting around, they were able to change that. Then the last thing I want to talk a little bit about is that their new achievement goal, a growth of 2%. Our baseline is 42.22%, and then the spring our goal is 44.22% in reading. The state of Minnesota has invested a lot in literacy, and so that seems to align with what our priority should be. Last couple things that aren't on there is Jeremy and I met with PMA today to kind of get things set up for the 22nd, that next board meeting we will have. There's a couple different ways. The reason we need to spend some significant time on it, at least for us to get some background on it, we can issue a bond for $74.395 all at once, or we can split it up into multiple issuances. We will have a recommendation, and we're trying to put a lot of logic into why we're doing it, and not give up too much in terms of our total available resources for building a bill. Okay? But I will tell you, I'm a fiscally responsible person, so my recommendation will be based upon that also. We have to reach that. So, all right? So that will come up on the 22nd. Both Jeremy and I will be attending a MASBO levy workshop tomorrow, right? Tomorrow afternoon. So we'll be ready for the 22nd. He got the preliminary levy today, right? Yep. And so we'll look at that, make sure that looks right, but it takes quite a bit of work. It's just a preliminary levy that you'll see on the 22nd, but you'll have an idea of what that looks like. And finally, I'm sure you folks don't want this, but September is School Board Appreciation Month, and I want you to hear how much we thank you for your willingness to serve our students, staff, and our community as a school board member. It's often thankless, and you don't hear it very often. I'm sure you do hear from some people, which is part of the duties and responsibilities. But we appreciate your willingness to do that and to make sure that education is a top priority in our community. So thank you for doing it. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Rich? If not, we will continue moving on with committee reports. Building and Ground Committee meeting met on August 20th. Anybody want to give an update on that?
And we have one again Wednesday.
And this was before we met with Jim, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And so this one, generally speaking, the intent with the first one is to kind of give them an update on where things are at after we finish the projects in the summer.
Sure.
So we first talked about some phone issues, like if our current phones go down, it's all internet-based. And so, if the internet goes down, then our staff are without a phone basically in their room. And so we just kind of talked about if we want to go try to find like some sort of backup. When we decided at this time we weren't gonna try to find a backup. Talked a little bit about the fire alarm updates, and the chillers, hopefully we're kind of past that point in the year where we need them. And then we talked about the PA system between the two buildings, getting a quote on doing something, because if there's like a emergency or something, it would be really nice to do one announcement between the two buildings without them having to like call each other and let each other know what's going on. So, trying to work through something, for that. Talked a little bit about the bidding process for the new building. There was some water damage on the auxiliary gym floor, and we talked a little bit about that. And then we talked about the budget update for the projects and such, so far this year. And then we went over to the gym to look at all of the outstanding equipment that wasn't used yet at that time. Is that about it?
Do you have anything to add?
Did you find a golf cart?
Yes.
No, we haven't. So what I told Tim is, cause we're not gonna get in that price range, so we're gonna, you know, not deal with it for a little bit, because at the end of the season, we know we can get it for that price. So, they'll be coming off the courses, so, coming off the leases. Or we're confident, can't ever say we don't.
Okay. We'll move along to new business, personnel items. There doesn't look to be like there's any leave requests or resignations tonight, so we will do the new hires. We're gonna take 1 through 8 together, and then 9, and continue from there. So, I'll just read through them quick. Approve employment for elementary paraprofessional Abby Dewey. Approve employment middle school, high school paraprofessional liaison Briley Ruff. Approve employment middle school, high school paraprofessional Anita Agermanson. Approve employment middle school, high school paraprofessional Danielle Bailey. Approve employment after-school care assistant Michelle Rodriguez. Approve employment for after-school care assistant Bailey Day. Approve employment after-school care helper Tegan Belfany. Approve employment after-school care helper Savannah Wolf. I'll need a motion for those.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
Go
I'll second.
Any discussion with the first 8? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion carried. And then we're gonna take number 9, after-school helper Abby Winter. Need a motion for her approval of that.
I'll motion to approve.
Second by Zempel.
Any discussion?
I'll abstain.
Thank you, Ron. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. And then we'll take 10 and 11, approve employment for volunteer cross-country coach Rory Shackelford and volunteer cross-country coach Adam Saviego. I need a motion for those.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion carried. And then number 12, approve employment of volunteer musical assistant Drew Nagy, sorry. I need a motion?
Motion by Zempel.
I'll second.
And any discussion regarding that? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. And then, 9.2, approve proposed spring music trip to Florida.
Alright. Oh, can I walk in the middle here?
Of course.
I don't know if it was, okay, it's a sacred zone.
Yeah. I think so.
Go.
We don't
of info here. We're not gonna talk about all of it. Unless you want us to talk about all of it, but I don't even know. We'll share this. Do you guys want to? Okay.
Okay, so, I know it was kind of like Friday, but, I believe we got the, overnight field trip form request submitted to, I submitted it to Denise, Stacy, and Rich. And, I believe it got forwarded to you, I hope.
Yeah, it should be.
And so with all of the, various information there as well, and then what we decided to do as well is we have what we gave you, the tour proposal that we received, as well as, like a payment plan and schedule, insurance information, as well as a proposed, not finalized itinerary for the trip that we received from our travel company that we're currently working with, that we haven't like signed any documents or anything for yet, that has helped organize this for us. And I guess basically we're here, sorry, I'm nervous, I'm always nervous. We're here to, I mean, basically just.
This is the guy that plays the lead act.
It's easier to do that. We're here to, I guess, propose this trip for consideration and approval, hopefully, to bring our kids out of the state this year, like we do every other year typically. And I guess if there are any questions that you have, please let us know so we can answer them for you.
When are you planning this trip?
We have touring dates through March 27th through March 31st. That's okay. So we'd be leaving on a Friday, and it's the Friday that there is no school. It's a staff day, so we'll miss our staff day. But the students will be missing school that day, and then they'll also be missing the following Monday and Tuesday. So it's a combined total of 2 school days that they're missing.
Any questions? Or do we need to approve this tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
So both Stacy and I have approved it to this point.
Okay. So it looks like from the March 27th, 2026 through March 31st of 2026, is that correct? All right, are you flying bus or?
So, yes, we've done a lot of research and a lot of consideration, and it has not been easy, per se, because there's so many factors for everything, but we decided that we are going to fly. A little nerve-wracking, but this company is very, very well known with music touring groups, and has a very, I was gonna say reputable reputation, that's redundant. And so I feel pretty confident with their organization of it. We chose flying because busing is pretty much the exact same price because of how much busing costs have gone up. Plus, you factor in, it's pretty much 2 drivers, and it's basically a day-and-a-half trip there and a day-and-a-half back. So we were like, it's just a tiny bit more to fly, let's maximize the amount of time we have. And you can see on the tour proposal that the current price is the cheapest we were able to get pretty much anywhere that's not like Iowa.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing, I'm a tourist in my own area, so I would have had a great time there, but, the kids
It's a
want to
hard
get out of
sell.
the kids want to get out of the Midwest, I think.
Especially in March.
So
Yeah.
the price plan there, $1,899 per student, is relatively high. It's the highest we've had for traveling, but travel costs have gotten so high. And that estimate, our travel consultant that we've been working with has factored in estimated flight prices at pretty much the highest they possibly could be, with the hopes that they will actually be cheaper. And that there's practically, unless something crazy happens, no way that it would be more than that. So.
Are you planning on like fundraising for some of this?
Yep, so, sorry, I've been yapping.
Keep
Okay. We have annual fundraisers that we do every year that the students have kind of built their own personal like fundraising accounts in our activity accounts, both vocal and instrumental. And we're also considering, doing some like group fundraising to lower the cost completely. What that is yet, we have yet to determine, but we'll figure it out and fill out forms that we need to. But for sure, if you like butter braids, that's coming up. As soon as I fill out that form, it's on my to-do list, homecoming's next week. So that's in the forefront of my brain, but, if you like butter braids, we're selling those. And then we have our annual bake sale that we do in, that we plan to do in December as well. So we'll do fundraising that way. I did on the sheet, or like the request form, put like scholarships. We've never done this before, but those activity accounts that we have accrue money over the years from students who have graduated that didn't use all of their money. So we have like an extra fund balance in there that we were thinking about helping those kids that wanna go but necessarily can't afford it, or, you know, also not every kid can sell $800 worth of butter braids, like some kids can.
Or kids who have just moved into the community and don't have money built into their accounts yet.
To kind of help maybe offset those costs for those students that would need it. We would have to figure out a way to go about that, or a way to help, ask for help from like our Music Boosters, Friends of Music Club that we have. So that's just a possibility, it's not set in stone, but, is there, actually I have a question about that, is there any special, protocol that we have to follow when it comes to something like that?
No, I think that would be like Stacy and I should probably be involved
Discretionary,
in that
okay.
process, so we know what
Yeah.
that standard.
Okay. Perfect.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
I
If not,
noticed-
oh, go ahead, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, no, I just noticed that there's kind of a fairly regimented payment schedule for the students to meet, throughout the month and, or throughout kind of starting in October, as early as October. So do most students, do you think you'll be able to do fundraising or have account balances to help cover some of those initial?
I think so.
Payments.
The one that, I guess doesn't really worry me, but the deposit that's in October, the travel company requires that to not be fundraised money, to make sure it's like a securing your spot kind of thing. And I guess having the kids have some buy-in to it, so they like know what they're registering and signing up for, so they're not like backing out later suddenly and changing the price for everyone. But by October 3rd, and this is just high school, so if they took advantage of their fundraising, because they can fundraise in middle school to build that up by the time they get to high school, if they take advantage of it, they should have that money already available to pay. And if they don't take advantage of it, those typically are the kids that aren't worried about it or aren't going. So I don't think it'll be an issue, but it would just be the October 3rd one that we wouldn't have any fundraisers prior to, but. they
And
should
that
have-
can't be fundraised money, you said, right?
The September 26th can't be fundraised money, but starting in October 3rd it could be.
Oh,
So, I'm hoping not, but we'll check in with the students as well and kind of see where they're at too. I don't think there's any way we could get a fundraiser organized before, then, but.
you don't foresee any major difficulties for students to raise the funds though?
I don't think so. I have we share a freshman who has fundraised the past 2 years as a 7th and 8th grader that already has over half of the trip paid for, technically, before they even do anything this year. And that's just money they've raised. And, you know, parents and families are allowed to pay in their own money. That doesn't have to be strictly fundraised. So I don't anticipate there being any major issues. And we're trying to do it in a way that is as inclusive as possible, even though it's still really kind of expensive for some, so. It was better than one group was like, well, we can put you we were looking at California first, and they're like, here's $4,000 trip, and we're like, oh, thanks. And they're like, how about Costa Rica for $3,500? And we're like, tempting, still a lot though.
Any other questions? If not, we need a motion.
Motion to approve by Zempel?
I will second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great, you just have to come back and tell us all about it.
Come on down.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll need chaperones too, I suppose, but Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to mention, sorry.
Go ahead.
We don't have chaperones picked out, but, we go through an application process, and typically we do try to stay somewhat in the district, but if we're not, we'll follow and make sure they get background checked and all of that stuff before we leave. So, and then if you need us to get that information to you about who's accompanying the children and the exact student list,
Yes, for sure, to Stacy and Rich.
yeah, I will get that for you, for sure. Okay,
Thank
thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Fort Rainy Elementary School-wide title plan. Mrs. Hanson, is that you?
It is.
I'm gonna get back to rehearsal, I'm bopping around, so, thank you.
Do you have this linked on Boardwalk?
I think I have the wrong link there, so I will fix that and,
Do you want me to?
no, go ahead, you can get started.
Isn't the summer plan link at the bottom of the agenda?
Oh, maybe that's where I went rogue. It should be, that's it?
It is.
Yep,
Click on that.
yep, we got it.
All
What's
right,
it called?
we're ready.
Or did it fix it?
Summer plan?
Summer
It's
plans.
a 25-26 plan.
Right.
Yeah,
We got
okay,
it.
okay, not summer plan.
Not-
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
not yet.
That was me.
So, I tried to, first of all, I'll take, when we're done, I'm gonna go over a few areas, and then I can, of course, take any questions, but I tried to organize it by highlighting the main areas, so if you go to page 4, I highlighted in yellow the subtitle Comprehensive Needs Assessment or Annual Evaluation Summary. And basically, when we do our title plan, those categories there that are listed are what schools need to come up with to look at. And there's certain parts of schedules, policies and whatnot, or different components that you can look at. So you'll see what we pulled into each of those categories that we reviewed throughout the year. So I will just give you a second here to read through the yellow section to see if you have any questions on that. Basically, what we do is we look at those 5 areas to look for strengths and weaknesses and come up with some plans on how we can improve.
Just the yellow, not the purple?
Yep, so far just the yellow.
Okay.
Any questions on the yellow, or am I rushing you? Okay, so then, still on page 4, the next part that I have is orange, what successes were identified. And again, I'm not going to read those to you, but I'll just let you skim through those. And then moving on to the next page, you'll see what areas of greatest need were identified, and that's highlighted in red. And that really tracks a lot of our assessment data, whether it's reading proficiency on the MCA and the MTAS, which MDE references as accountability assessments, as well as our STAR reading and STAR early literacy. And again, these are all different points of data, but with STAR, we have historically looked at if that student is at or above grade level. And that, the areas of need go on to page 6, and so there were 6 areas of need. And it talks about math, also our student attendance, with specifically looking at what we would call our top 20 students who have the highest absentee rates. And we really break that down into, is it illness, is it something else that we can help support, and involve our social workers with those students as much as possible. And then number 5 is with what I would consider a drill and practice program for our students in grades 2 through 5. It's really practicing math facts. And then number 6 is something that's really important. So just a reminder, our CKLA is our new reading curriculum, and so this year we're going into year 2 of that. And one of the things that we tracked, and the teachers helped us do this, was CKLA puts out what we call a pacing guide. So for example, it would say grade 3, on week 3 of school, you should be on this unit finishing these lessons. And all of our CKLA reps and support systems there had told us, you know, year 1 is difficult. And talking with an area school that also had this program, they told us the same thing. You know, you're never gonna get to all of the pieces. And that was found to be true. Some grades got through more than others, and so that was in area number 6 that we're definitely working on for this year, is really, I call them fidelity checks, but it really is checking in with grade levels. Where are you at in accordance with the pacing guide? What support do you need to make sure that we're getting through as much as we can? Most of our CKLA support will say that we probably will not be 100% even by the end of year 2, but we absolutely will be better than we were last year. So questions on any of the successes, or probably more specific, the needs that are listed there?
Went through a few iterations of this title plan, right?
Yes,
Submitting.
I did, yeah, so you may recall, so in, let's see, October of '24, we were audited by MDE on our title plan. And we did not hear back from them until May 15th, which made it very difficult to improve or do anything differently. So we ended up, and this is actually included in here, one of the things that was listed was, and through discussions with our MDE rep, they were encouraging us to do like our parent meetings differently. And so we followed their protocol, and because of the late notice in May, I ended up doing some parent meetings that first week in June. And, you know, did them how they requested that we do those. The first one, we had 3 parents show up, 2 were from the same home, and the second night we had 0. And we have had discussions with MDE, it was that we had been trying like to do ours through parent-teacher conference nights, our parent, through our curriculum advisory. They have some great tips on, you know, how we can expand that going into this year. So we had to redo some things, resubmit, and we are still waiting on those. So we're just moving forward with what we have right now. So, all right, going on to the next page, which is my page 7, which is highlighted in bright pink. One of the things that we always look at, and it's actually a requirement through title, is coming up with strategies. And so you're gonna see school improvement strategy number 1. And our greatest academic need is improving student literacy across all grade levels. Many of our students are reading below grade level, which also affects their ability to be successful in other subjects such as math, social studies, and science. And you, again, can see we identify some root causes. Of course, it's not all of them, but it's some key ones. Strategies for improving. We also have to include some research-based strategies that we have to show to MDE that we're using. And then I'm gonna actually flip way back to what I believe is my page. I believe, if I counted that right. It's the bright green school improvement strategy number 2. And that talks a little bit about some of our strategies for improving our math scores. I know this is a lot to read. Our audit, I have the pile in my office, it's this high. So this is just a snippet of that. Jeremy and Tara were both, and Mr. Schneider were all involved in that as well. well, that if you wanna take this and you have ideas or suggestions or questions, please reach out. Would love your feedback on this.
So it's safe to say one of our biggest obstacles is getting parent involvement.
Yes and no. We have done parent involvement differently and it's been very successful because that's what our parents have said they wanted. So like the daytime activities that grade levels do, have a very high percentage of parents that come in. So if like second grade does an activity and all the parents are involved, get a very high percentage. What MDE wants, and I understand their logic, is more of a adult-like meeting where we present the information and take feedback. And I will say on the one of the 2 nights that, you know, we had our parents at, Mr. Schneider was there also, they had some great ideas. I would just love to have 20 parents show up, you know, with great ideas. That's the format that they really look at as sharing the plan, getting feedback, and basically going back and revising again.
Could that meeting be virtual? Like, do you think you might get more parents if it was offered virtually?
Possibly, that's a good idea, absolutely. One of the things, like when we did the face-to-face, which was better than like when we do a parent-teacher conference night where like we're in the gym, is it is more private. It's a lot easier for Abby to ask a question without 20 people coming in and out of the gym. So there's a lot of time to have those more, I'm gonna call them private, you know, conversations where parents feel comfortable. But I think virtual option would probably provide even more of that, especially if they can't get here. Any other questions? Again, if you take this and have anything, please let me know any questions. Most of the strategy bullet points, the majority of this all includes tracking of each of those items. And so there's a lot of data that we have that support a lot of these, whether it's, you know, grade level meeting times for planning for our new reading program. Our teachers track what percentage throughout the year those actually happen. Because right now, our goal is every Thursday, grade levels plan for the next week for their new reading curriculum, but due to schedules or absences or whatever it might be, that doesn't always happen. So then they have that flexibility of rescheduling that a different day that week, and so they help us track that, because that's one of the examples that we have to turn in. What percentage of the weeks did that happen? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna keep moving along here. Are there any correspondence tonight?
No.
No correspondence? So that takes us to the upcoming events. Building and Grounds Committee meeting, September 10th at 5:30. Homecoming week, I do believe that's next week already, September 15th through the 19th. Policy Committee meeting, September 17th at 5:30. Our second board meeting will be September 22nd at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom. Finance Committee meeting, October 1st at 5:30. Our October board meeting then will be October 13th at 6 p.m. There'll be no school for staff development October 15th and no school for EM break October 16th through 17th. The meeting is adjourned.
Good job, Tony.
7:10. Has kickoff happened yet, Jeremy?